What's going on, guys? CTG Matt back. You can read the title of the video and the article we're about to read. It is the 10 riskiest contracts in the NBA by 2028. It was created by Eric Pincus of Bleacher Report. Don't forget to like, subscribe if you're new to the channel. I will link the article down below. Bleacher Report usually does good work. They hire some decent reporters. They do a good job. So we're starting off with honorable mentions, the rookie scale contracts. These are some guys that I'm assuming are on the rookie scale extensions that they aren't sure about. Okay, all of these have at least 3 seasons left, and I think Jalen Johnson's is good value, actually. It's 30 mil AAV. That's actually pretty damn good for Jalen Johnson, who's an all-NBA caliber guy. I'm more skeptical about this one, and I like that one more. Alperen Sengun for 115. It's like 40 million average annual value for the next 3 years. He's probably not an all-NBA guy. Don't get me wrong, I kind of like Alperen Sengun, but 115 is a steep price. They're going to have to make some real tough decisions, especially in the future, knowing that they got to pay Jabari Smith, Thompson, guys like that down the line. It's a little bit scary, but I think he's a good player. I don't know. I don't know what his ceiling is. I'm not really bought in that much. Scottie Barney's in here. I think the rest of these guys are pretty much stamped as like guys that you would start your franchise with. Like the rest of these guys that I just highlighted. I mean, I guess Evan Mobley's a question mark, and same with Paolo Banchero is a question mark because of offensive questions for both of them, actually. Evan Mobley's offensive game hasn't necessarily gotten better since last year, but he's still an all-NBA, an all-defensive guy, defensive player of the year candidate. He deserves it, in my opinion. And 18 a game from a DPOY, pretty damn good regardless. I'd take that. How many DPOYs have averaged 20 plus? I'm not sure how many. Leave that in the comments down below if you know. I'm thinking like Gary Payton averaged 20 plus probably when he won DPOY. But like you go back, Jaren probably, I don't know if Jaren did it. He might have been like 19 or 18 around that time. There's probably not a ton of guys who have averaged 20 a game and won DPOY. So Evan Mobley averaging close to 20 a game. I mean, I would take that. PB, I get it. P5, whatever you want to call him. PB no J. 199. That's 200 million over the next 4 years. That's 50 million a year for the kids at home who don't feel like doing math. For a guy that hasn't made an All-NBA team yet, there's a little bit of question marks there about his offensive bag, his skill set, his ability to score the ball consistently and efficiently. But like Cade Cunningham's here, nobody's questioning if Cade Cunningham's the guy to build your franchise around. Chet Holmgren's an amazing player. Jalen Williams is an amazing player when healthy. Has not been healthy this year. Really tough to see. We got Lauri Markkanen up first as a non-honorable mention. That's interesting. 50 million basically, and he's going to be 30 on opening night. I do agree, $50 million is quite a good chunk of change for Lauri Markkanen. Is he a great player? Absolutely. An all-star talent, one of the best catch-and-shoot guys in the NBA, one of the best pure shooters, I would say, in the NBA. He could create his own, or he runs around screens constantly. They were using him as like a 6'10", or he's 7 foot Steph Curry for a little bit, just running around screen, more like a Klay Thompson, but you get what I mean, just running around screens, taking DHOs and shit, and just getting threes up. I like Lauri Markkanen, though. I think there is a little bit of, like I said, question marks because $50 million to a guy probably not going to make an All-NBA team. There's some real concern there. I get that. I completely get that. Yeah, it's not a bad contract, but like I think they mentioned, yeah, they traded Jaren Jackson. They still have Keontae George, who they got to give an extension to. I understand being a little bit shy or bashful on this deal. But it's nothing about talent. It's nothing to really do with talent, that he's a bad player or anything. Nothing to do with that. More so the dollar amount for the production given. Ogugwa, OG Anunoby's here. 45.5. I think we all knew it was an overpay when they gave him that extension, but it was more so the Knicks needing him. He's there for necessity. He's an amazing defender. He's versatile as hell. He can give you 20 every once in a while. He hits his corner threes at a real respectable clip. He checks the box that the Knicks need him to do. So the fact that they overpaid him a little bit, it's just because he was the final piece. They weren't going to win this shit with RJ Barrett, right? So they traded RJ Barrett for OG Anunoby, and that's how we end quickly. And that's how we end up here. The Knicks are an all-in contender in the East. I mean, they need him. That's why you overpay him. It's kind of like when the Celtics gave that extension to Drew Holiday, except the Celtics traded that contract. The Knicks are probably going to sit on it, which there's nothing wrong with that. I just think that OG Anunoby is a great player. It started lagging right there for a second. OG is earning star-level money to be a great role player. I agree. But, again, when you're a championship win-now team, You kind of have to give away some big deals here and there. Like I said, Porzingis, Holiday with the Celtics last year. You think about like Chet Holmgren, maybe overpaid, I guess. I don't know. But OG Anunoby is overpaid because of necessity, in my opinion at least. He's a real damn good player too. Like, ain't nothing wrong with OG as the player. The dollar amount, I can get it, being a little bit scared of that. He's a great player, though, no doubt. Jakob Poeltl, all the back injections and shit, is that what we're worried about? I mean, he is 32, and he's had back injuries basically the entire season. They didn't even mention that. They didn't mention that part at all. It's just staying healthy. But, like, a back injury is legit scary for a 30-year-old. You know what I mean? Especially a guy whose entire, like, value on the court is defensive-based. He's a great rim protector. He can switch. He's got great footwork. Well, had when he was playing. So a back injury really does. It scares me a little bit. So I get where this is coming from. I hadn't even thought about Yak, but he's a damn good player. I hadn't even thought about Yak, but it's actually not bad. A back injury for a big man that relies a lot on his defensive versatility, I get being shy, especially with no all-star appearances. He has incentives up to $5 million. I'm not worried about that. 27.5 though, and it's a back injury. If it was like, I don't know, his arm, his elbow was hurting, I'd be like, all right, he couldn't shoot anyways. I'm not worried about that. But his back is definitely worrisome. Back injuries are no joke, dude. So I get that. Mikal, oh my God, they got 2 Knicks on here. Oof. Mikal did just have a stinker the other day where he shot like 0 for 6. Wasn't great. So I can get that, and especially Mr. 5 first-round picks himself. He'll be 31 on opening night when that contract hits in 2028. Again, paid $36 million. I don't know how he's going to age. Mikal Bridges is one of those guys where I think he'll age fine. I'm just not sure what the production's going to be by then, and I'm guessing that's kind of where they're going with this too. He's not on the team to score 26 points per game, but to support Jalen Brunson and Cat with defense and spacing. Yeah, he can. I think he could still do that at 31, but his ranginess and stuff like that. It's a lot of the defensive types, like the defensive archetypes, heavy defense guys, because as you get older, it is harder to apply yourself more consistently, especially on the defensive end when you're going to be taking bumps, bangs, floor hits, and shit like that. I get it. It's the more physical side of ball usually. Offensive players aren't the ones eating elbows to the mouth, but we see at least, you see that like 3 times a week, I would say, where a defensive player just eats an elbow to the mouth. That just happens. Shit just happens. It's basketball, bro. Everybody takes hits, but the defensive types, I think that's what they're going to aim toward in this article, is kind of these all-defensive or just these active, engaged defender types are going to struggle as they age because they're taking more bumps and bruises. Jaren Jackson Jr., oh my God. All right, so another defensive type of guy, all-defensive type of guy, has won a Defensive Player of the Year before. An incredible player, Jaren Jackson Jr. He'll be 30 eventually. God, I remember him shooting in college, and I thought, there's no way he'll survive. Look at that hideous fucking jumper. And it works. I mean, it's still a hideous jumper. Still going in. Doesn't really matter if it's going in, right? Halliburton proved that as well. Kevin Martin proved that some years back as well. But Jaren Jackson Jr., they mention health and improved roster. They're just not fans of the Utah contracts, I see. They just don't really like Utah signing people. But I get what they mean. Unlike players, I mean, these guys are all in the $50 to $60 million range. Luka, Jamal, Bam, JB. Those guys all help lead their teams. Jaren's not necessarily like a number one option on a good team type of guy. In all fairness, I mean, they're going to be matching him with a bunch of guys that are Robins. That's the one thing Utah has right now is a shitload of Robins. And if they could get, maybe Ace Bailey's Batman, maybe Keontae George's Batman, but like Lauri Markkanen's a hell of a Robin, Jaren Jackson's a hell of a Robin, you just need to find out who's Batman. Where's Bruce Wayne at? That's a heavy number for a player who's had durability issues throughout his career. That's also fair. Again, I think it's leaning a lot of these defensive guys, especially the ones with injury history. They're really leaning into the injury history part, which I don't blame them. Injury history plus aging doesn't typically equal a great number or equation. We move on to Joel Embiid. Speaking of injury prone and aging, I mean, this is the head of the table if we're talking about. Joel Embiid is the Michael Phelps of getting injured. If they gave out an Olympic award for missing games, Joel Embiid would be Michael Phelps. If missing games was a hot dog eating contest, Joel Embiid is Joey Chestnut. Look at him and Kalo smiling next to each other on the bench. I love Joel Embiid. I know the jokes about him getting hurt, they're jokes. They're jokes. Relax. The guy gets hurt, and there's nothing me, you, or anyone can do about it. $64 million on the contract. Oh my God. All-star. Former All-star. Well, I think he could still be one. I mean, we've seen him play, and we've seen Philly 21-12 with Joel Embiid. It's a great record. They need him, and when he's playing well, he's still averaging like 28 a game. We saw that in the stretch that he put together. When he played like half a month straight, he was really good. Like, he started off the year when he first started playing not great, but that's also because he was out of rhythm, stuff like that. He hadn't played in a while. And then he played consistently for a little while, and it was like, here's Joel Embiid. You're getting, 30-point games where he's shooting efficiently, 11 of 19, 33 points or something like that. The more he plays, the more you start to see good nights. But the thing is, the more he plays, the more worried you get that eventually the Hindenburg is going to collapse. That's the balloon, right? The Hindenburg? I don't know, bro. I don't trust hot air balloons. Just a personal preference. De'Aaron Fox is up next. They're saying the speed ain't going to last. Is that what they're getting to, is that the speed ain't going to last? And plus, they have Castle and Harper as well. That makes sense, too. $54 million. That is a good it's a good selling point right there. $54 million to De'Aaron Fox. I mean, he's been an all-star. He's been an all-NBA caliber guy. I don't think he's made one, but he's in that caliber, that echelon of player that maybe deserves one. I like De'Aaron Fox a lot. What are my thoughts on this deal late? Yeah, it can get spooky. Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper, hell, even other young guys. Champagne's going to need an extension. They got guys that are coming up that are going to need an extension. And then, of course, there's the 7'3" guy who's also going to get paid at some point. We don't know when, but at some point he will. So I get it being bashful on De'Aaron Fox's contract. I just think by the time we get to 2028, I'm not sure how many years are going to be left on that deal. If it's only 1 year left, it might be movable, is all I'm going to say. But at the same time, even if they don't want to move it, this is the veteran, good veteran player. Because they have veteran players. Bismack Biyombo on their bench. Harrison Barnes is over there. They have vets. This is the really good vet. It's one thing to have your young guys take direction from Bismack Biyombo, right? Biyombo's been in the league for a long time. He deserves the respect that he's given over a 10-year career, successful, made plenty of money, right? It's a different thing when the guy you're learning from is a former all-star, all-NBA guy who led one of the lowliest, shittiest franchises in the league to the playoffs once. So, it's a little bit different. It's like when Chris Middleton said, I can't teach Cooper Flagg anything because he's already better than I was. Overall, though, I think I'm not as panicked as they are about it. I get the dollar amounts quite high, and you're going to have to give out some extensions to some guys, but I'm not really worried about it because of the fact that I think that they'll already, maybe have won by then, but also B, like, with the bird rights, being able to extend guys, they'll be able to make the contracts work, even if it does include shipping off De'Aaron Fox later in that deal. But even if you ship off De'Aaron Fox, Castle, Harper, those guys will have so much playoff experience, they'll be ready to do it themselves and emulate it. Jason Tatum is on the list. Okay, $63 million. Yeah, I mean, he blew his Achilles. There's definitely that little bit of worry there. He's still owed a massive amount for the next 3 years. Players rarely come back at the same level from an Achilles tear, but maybe Tatum is an exception to the rule. My thoughts on this. I get it, being a little bit worried about the Achilles. Truly, I do. They always point out guys that came back and they just were never the same post-Achilles. Kobe Bryant blew his Achilles, came back less than 300 days later, and was never the same. Also, that was because Kobe... I'll say there's always context behind why they struggled. Kobe rushed back and then broke his leg a week later, it felt like. Kobe rushed back through his Achilles rehabilitation. Tatum rushed back, but it's also a decade later. Medical science has gotten probably 100 times better over the last 10 years. Kevin Durant didn't rush back. He took the long way to get back, and he came back and was amazing. They always point to like the older cases, like was it Elton Brand who tore his Achilles? It's like Elton Brand tore his Achilles in like 2007. Shit's a lot different then than now. So making these comparisons to like guys from the 80s who blew their Achilles, there's no comparison there. There's none. When somebody blew their Achilles in the 80s, I mean, they were only 50 years off of learning what, like, septic shock was. They didn't know that germs could fuck with people. No, I'm just kidding. That's too far back. Too many jokes. But I get it being worried about Jason Tatum's Achilles injury long term. I do, don't get me wrong. But Jason Tatum's never been a guy that relied on his quickness at his size or anything like that. Like, he's agile as hell, don't get me wrong, but, like, this isn't a Boogie Cousins situation where Boogie was an anomaly the way he moved for a big man. I know Jason Tatum is the anomaly. I fully aware, but he's not an anomaly in the sense that, like, his size allows him to move differently. There's a lot of guys at his size, 6'9" guys that can dance. I don't know. I'm just not worried about it like they are in a sense. I think Jason Tatum, he takes a ton of step back threes, side step threes. That shit isn't gonna hurt your Achilles. I'll tell you that much. So I think we're good there. He doesn't really dunk a ton. He's just a all-around great basketball player, and I think that's what's gonna, kind of keep him as a star even through the Achilles injury. And even if not, listen, man, he brought the Celtics a championship. I think a lot of Celtics fans would be okay with footing the bill on his last few years, if he's not the same. I'm okay with it at least. I know it would suck financially, but at the same time, the guy brought us a championship. He averaged 30 a game once upon a time. All the good memories, if it does go bad, which I don't think it will, all the good memories do outweigh the bad. Devin Booker? Okay, so I was going for the defensive archetype thing, but now we got Devin Booker here. What are we working for here? Are we saying this was not to say that Booker's extension was a bad thing from the outside? It didn't seem necessary, but obviously the franchise felt otherwise. However, the Suns have a long way to go as this roster. It's unclear if they'll tank, rebuild, or anything like that. Okay, that's where they're coming from, is from a team-building aspect. Just needed to get where my guy was coming from. I get it. He's their franchise guy. Yeah, exactly. What they're saying is the age of this team. The other day, though, I'll mention the age of this team because I know Suns fans are going to be watching this part. Rasheer Fleming, Kaman Maluak, looked pretty damn good. Man had a 10-rebound game, and Fleming had like 18, 16. He had like 4 threes. Good shit to their young guys. I got to say that real quick. But Devin Booker being here, I get what they mean. I do. They're saying basically that with this core that they have right now, which is like Gillespie, Allen, Brooks, they're saying this ain't winning a championship. And I've said this before. I said this maybe 2 months ago. Like, they're fun. A very fun team. Maybe the most fun team I watched this season. There was no expectations, just a bunch of guys that went out there and power of friendship their way to some wins, right? Where do we go from here? Because this isn't a championship team. It's probably not going to be a championship team unless Jalen Green takes that next step that we've all been thinking could happen but just hasn't happened. It needs to make this team anything serious in a championship way. So the argument here is that, like, eventually they're going to have to get younger and they're going to have to rebuild. And I know that's not a word Matt Ishbia likes. He's openly said he doesn't like the idea of tanking, but it's probably going to happen at some point unless you're just going to commit to being a 7-6 seed and being a first round out or a second round out at best, So they're going to have to get younger so that way they can get better. But I do think that they have some young guys that are already interesting enough. Like I said, Maluak, of course, Fleming off the bench is very interesting as well. But I do agree that they'll have to get younger before they can contend at some point. But I think that we can cross that bridge, A, when we get there. But also, B, I think you can cross that bridge without having to worry about Devin Booker himself specifically. Like, you trade away a Dylan Brooks, you can net yourself a first-round pick. Maybe even 2 the way he's played this year. And that can help you get younger. You can trade away a Grayson Allen or a Colin Gillespie because they are older. They don't match a timeline. I'm sure you can get a first-round pick for Grayson Allen, and I'm sure you can get maybe a first-round pick for Colin Gillespie. There's value there. That's how you can get younger without having to trade Devin Booker. Possible. I'm not saying it's going to happen, and I get what they mean. He just doesn't fit the timeline. You could trade him away to a contender, get a bunch of picks back. It's the idea of getting like 5 first-round picks for Devin Booker. It's like jingling keys in a baby's face, right? But I don't think they need to do that. I think if they just trade all the pieces around Booker, they can get younger without having to actually trade Booker. Sometimes I just want to see a franchise legend ride out with the franchise. You get what I'm saying? Number 1 is Shake. Okay. All right. I'll read this. So, what he's getting at is like it's the most money in the NBA. He's getting paid probably the most in the NBA. It's just worrisome, I guess. I don't know. It says His current 20, it doesn't factor in that, is a staggered amount for a single contract. Congratulations to Gilgeous-Alexander, and the money he's earned by the NBA should flow to the top talent as agreed by the league and the Players Association. The sheer volume makes Gilgeous-Alexander the riskiest contract, even if he's the most likely name to live up to the contract. Yeah, but like, what's the alternative? You know, I get it. It's like every action a team takes carries a risk, as it does the absence of action. The Thunder gave him the most money they could to lock him up for as long as possible, and it was the move nearly every franchise would make given the circumstances. Okay, I guess there's nothing they could have done. There wasn't. I mean, it's not like I'm gonna be honest. Shea was on a relatively team-friendly deal before this one because he wasn't getting paid like a star. Because he wasn't a star up until like 3 years ago now. He was really good, just wasn't a star-level guy. Nowadays, he's an MVP. He's the MVP. He hit 2-game winners yesterday. It felt like 2-game winners. I mean, he hit the one, and then miraculously, the Nuggets get that and one on the blown-up screen from Jalen Williams, or was it Dort? It was somebody. And then they tie the game, and then guess who does it again? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, another 3. He's the MVP. He's going to be paid as such. So I guess that's where they're coming from, in the sense where it's like he's only 29. I don't know. I think that they're kind of overreacting to the number on paper. They've already maxed out J-Dub. They've already maxed out Chet. That's 3 All-Stars that they have already locked down for a good while. I don't think that's a bad situation to be at. I know finding guys that can work with them is going to be difficult. Like, shout out to Cason Wallace. Don't know if he's going to be getting an extension with the Thunder. Shout out to Isaiah Hartenstein. He's damn near guaranteed to leave the Thunder, feels like. What's Lou Dort going to get when he needs a payday again? I get it. But the way that their player development is and how good guys have come along just kind of sitting for a little while and then becoming feature pieces for them, incredible. AJ Mitchell damn near did not play year 1. Now he's a 6th Man of the Year candidate. Jalen Williams, J-Will, not J-Dub, J-Will will go stretches of just not playing. Chet's healthy. Holmgren's healthy. They don't need him to play. Maybe he doesn't play a ton. And then he comes in yesterday against Denver and he hits 7 threes. So, in my opinion, I'm not really worried about Shea because of the fact that the Thunder are so good at player development that I think they'll always be able to find alternative or ulterior guys to really help Shea and that group win. They've maxed out their big 3. From there, it's just kind of finding pieces that fit and trying to make it work on rookie deals. You know, Jay Will can come in and play spot minutes. They keep finding guys that can just come in and Jared McCain. They keep finding guys. That's how they keep winning, though, is that they keep finding guys that can come in and fill roles. Isaiah Joe, Jared McCain, AJ Mitchell. Where do they find these motherfuckers? Well, 2 of the 3 they find in Philadelphia. But I get what they mean. You're burying a lot of your money into the 3 guys, especially Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and you're hoping that it works. But in my opinion, I look at it and I see the Thunder are so good at player development. They figured out damn near how to expedite player development, it feels like. Guys go there and just miraculously get better. Shit works. If it works, it works. And that's what the Thunder have done. They've kind of patchworked their roster around the big 3, and it's working out just fine. Thank you once again to Eric Pincus and the rest of Bleacher Report. You guys do good work over there, like I said, like as per usual. They do a damn good job. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe. I'm going to link it down in the comments below. You guys can go check it out yourself if you want to, read more around. I'm going to go catch a game. See you guys in the next one.